The top 3 sales strategies I learned from the Diary of a CEO to close more estimates. The first one is what I call being unique to your nuts. There was a guy who opened his circus but noticed that no one was coming in. That's when he was thinking, how can I get people to come into the circus, and had a great idea. He decided to grab 3 bricks, went outside his circus, and was putting one brick in front of each other until he entered the circus. What do you think happened next? The people couldn't understand what the man was doing with the bricks. So more and more people were just staring at this guy, so the crowd started getting bigger and bigger. Finally, the man putting brick after brick entered the circus, so people were just so intrigued to see what the man was gonna do with those bricks that they decided to go inside the circus just to see the man. A lot of the people were rushing into the circus, so that's when the guard stops them and tells them, you have to pay in order to come in. You know the crazy thing? A lot of the people who went inside the circus to see the man were so intrigued that they ended up paying. Then they would get distracted, so they would stay in the circus watching the show, which made this guy a ton of money. I realized that being unique brings more attention than being ordinary. You have to be different than everybody else and not be normal. When I had my painting business, I realized that a lot of painters, what they do is that they give you an estimate through email. Sometimes in rare scenarios, some of the painters will actually give you an estimate in person, yet they will use a software that was shit and you couldn't even see the price well. You couldn't even see the structure or what was gonna be done in the project. It was just literally awful. To be different, I started to treat every single estimate like it was $1 million. So what I started doing is I wanted to provide the best experience when giving estimates. I gave estimates on paper. I gave a color scheme book that was made of nice material, not the cheap stuff. I gave a lot of help with colors just to ensure that the guy picks their favorite color, and so much more things. I even was trying my best to find one little thing that I liked about the homeowner, so when I speak to him, he feels my enthusiasm. He also helped me pay attention to the homeowner, so I was treating him more like a friend rather than a salesman. I tried to find every little thing, even the smallest thing, to try to differentiate myself from the competition. Many people think that copying others is gonna get them the same result, the same success as that other person, yet the reality is the opposite. They are so common that people can see through their screen that they're just trying to copy this other guy, they're trying to be like this guy, that they don't even pay attention to them. If you want to sell more, you have to start finding a way to differentiate yourself from the competition. And the only way you're gonna achieve this is if they pay attention to you. Find the smallest things that you can use to your advantage, even if they're absurd, but that make you different. What matters is to get people talking about you, because the more people talk about you, the more people are gonna know about your service, right? And that they know the difference between you and all the Joes in your market. The second is what I call position yourself with exclusivity. Years ago, there was a guy who discovered the pineapples. He couldn't believe how delicious the pineapple was, so he wanted to return to the king to give him some of that tasty pineapple. They took a lot of pineapples, yet all of them went spoiled because the trip was just so far away. So they had to go back just to get more pineapples, and from that trip, only one pineapple didn't get rotten. Couldn't believe the taste of the pineapple, that he even made people watch and eat that pineapple. After that, the king was so amazed that he even built pineapple statues. So he placed them all over the palace just to demonstrate the value of the pineapple. Yet, after some couple months, there was this guy who created a system so everybody could have those pineapples, and that's when he removed all the pineapple statues from the palace. I realized that, of course, pineapple is delicious, but what gave the pineapple its value was its exclusivity. You have to learn how to position your product or service around exclusivity. When I gave an estimate, every single one of them has some urgency or some scarcity attached to it, and it was true scarcity. Let me ask you a question. If I give you 100 painting projects to complete in 1 week, would you be able to handle it? The answer is probably not right now. Maybe you don't have the crews, you don't have the team required yet. So that means that you have some scarcity, which is true. It's not fake. What worked for me was identifying the max projects I could do per week and simply letting know the homeowner, hey, I can only take X amount of spots per week. If you fail to add scarcity or urgency, you know what's going to happen? The homeowner is going to tell you, let me think about it. The reason why they say this is because you don't add no urgency or scarcity, so they think they have forever to buy. But the truth is that they don't have forever to buy. Most of us painters painters, we have to stack our projects so we can book out a crew for months. So what that means is that they will have to wait 2-3 months if they don't take action. You just simply have to let them know that. So when you start pointing out that they could lose availability if they don't take action, what's going to happen is that it's going to make your service seem exclusive because it's not going to be available forever, which makes people take action. Most painters are afraid to put scarcity or urgency in the service because they think that people are simply not going to buy anymore because they think it's unavailable now. Yet the opposite is the truth. When you don't put urgency or scarcity in your service, people think it's always going to be available so they can just buy later. Yet they're so distracted nowadays that they're not going to take action. In simple terms, urgency and scarcity is the only way that you're going to make people act because people are afraid of losing. Let me give you an example. If you had a sales rep and he was closing the estimates for you, what do you think is going to work more? The first scenario is you tell him, hey, if you close 10 estimates this week, I'll give you a Ferrari, right? Which is, it's a pretty good goal. Who doesn't want a Ferrari for closing 10 estimates? But now, what if you do the opposite? It's a pretty good goal, yet what if the guy doesn't get the Ferrari because he has to put effort? You know, there's still effort to be put, so he sees the effort, he's like, you know what? I don't really need the Ferrari as much, or I don't really want it as bad. Now imagine this other scenario. Hey, here's a Ferrari, it's all yours. You can keep the Ferrari, but you will lose it if you don't give me those 10 estimates closed. What do you think is going to happen? The guy has possession of the Ferrari now, so he doesn't want to lose it. There was this quote, I don't remember from who, but it says that people are more afraid of losing than to gain. The third is create a need. When I was knocking on doors, I remember walking around, seeing the paint peeling off from many of the houses. The wood was rotten. It was just horrible state. Did you know that painting your house not only helps it look nice and beautiful, but it also protects it from the weather? The truth is that many homeowners don't know that. So in their perspective, spending more than $6,000 just to paint their house and make it look pretty was not worth it at all. You have to develop the skill in your communication to explain a need that the homeowner fails to see. That is the job of the salesman. I started to apply this when knocking doors. So usually I would just knock the door and just ask them if they wanted to buy some painting services, but really nobody gave a fuck. So what I started doing was knocking the door and asking them, hey, when was the last time you painted? While looking at their house with a little disgust at the areas that were peeling off, the wood was rotten. So what happened was that the homeowners started to realize how fucked up their house was looking. When I pointed out how messed up their house was, I will always notice how their faces just started like getting worried about their home. Like, oh my goodness, when did that happen there? I have not seen that. The crazy thing is that most painters assume that the homeowner already knows how his house looks. The reality is that most humans miss a lot of stuff if you don't point it out. It made me realize that if you take the time to accept the fact that, oh, maybe this homeowner doesn't know the problem that he has, and you point it out for them, that they're not gonna reject you. They're actually gonna be thankful for you for telling them that before they have to replace the fascia or it gets more expensive to fix it. So find the need that you solve and point it out to homeowners. Many people assume that the customer already knows how their service or product works, and the reality is that they don't. That is the whole reason they don't buy, because there's some uncertainty happening in their brain, so they don't know what's gonna happen if they buy, and they don't even know why they should buy. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're shopping around Amazon and you see something that you like, let's say a shirt. You click on the shirt, you're looking at the shirt, you like it, but you don't really know a reason why you should buy it. You don't know if it's gonna fit you, so that creates some uncertainty. And you know what's happened? You're so discouraged because there's lacking of information on why you should take the next step, so you don't buy it. It's simple as that. So you have to remove that uncertainty by assuming that they don't know shit about your service, and you have to explain every single detail of it. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Remember that you're walking to your destiny. Have an amazing day.